Hi guys, this is Rosa Kelly. So today I am here with a new tutorial. We're gonna be working on this super fun mini album using the 70s collection by Ciao Vela. So I hope that you can join along and let's get right to it. So to make this album, we're going to start with the cover. So we're gonna need chipboard pieces. I cut 2 at 6.5 by 8 and one piece at 2.5 by 8 inches for the spine. So I'm just gonna wrap everything around onto black cardstock. Here we have the base of the album. Now we're gonna work on the hinges, and for that I'm using a piece of cardstock that I cut at 7.25. So we're going to score this at 1.5 and then 2 inches, 2.75, 3.5, 4 inches, 4.75, 5.5, 6 inches, 6.75, 7.5, 8 inches, and we're going to score at 8.75, 9.5, and 10 inches. And then what we're going to do is just simply join together the 3/4 inch pieces. So we're going to pinch together until we form the hinge like that. We're gonna skip the 1/2 inch and do the same to the 2 3/4 inches. And here you have your hinges. We're going to go ahead and add some double-sided tape on each side. So now we're going to add the hinge into the base of the album. I'm just gonna glue this down. So now I'm going to decorate the cover. I'm gonna use this design here. I'm going to cut it at 6 by 7.75. I'm actually gonna use both of these, so I'm going to cut them together. And then also for the cover, I'm going to be using this beautiful girl that I absolutely love. So I'm going to fuzzy cut around the image, and we are going to layer this one on top of the design papers. for the spine, I'm going to cut this paper and I'm going to cut it at 7 3/4 by 4.5. And this is going to wrap around the spine. So now we have the cover ready. I really love how this looks. And now for the pages, I'm cutting 4 pieces of cardstock at 6 1/4 by 8 1/2 and 4 pieces at 6 1/4 by 7 1/2. And I am saving all of my leftover pieces here, my scraps, and this is what we're going to be working with also. So the first thing that we're going to do is grab the larger pieces and we're going to score at 1/2 inch on both sides to create the pocket pages. So we're going to do 1/2 inch and 8 inches, and I'm just going to repeat that for all of these pieces. So now we're going to fold along the score lines and we're going to add double-sided tape to each one of these 1/2 inch flaps, and that's how we're going to join the pages. And then we're gonna grab the smaller piece and we're gonna join them together like this. So I'm first going to line it up just like that, and then we are going to take off tape on both sides, and there you go. That's how we're going to create the page. Now we're going to repeat this process for all of the 4 pages. So now I have my 4 pages and we are going to work on one at a time. So I'm going to start with this first one. So I'm going to cut this piece of paper at 6 inches. This is one of my favorite designs from the collection, and then I'm going to cut this down at 7 1/4. So we have this beautiful piece on the background here, and then for this image I'm going to fussy cut around this flower and this Volkswagen. So then I'm going to glue this image onto my black cardstock. I'm using the pieces that we had left over, so I'm just gonna line this up on the corner and I'm gonna give it a little bit of a black border around, as you can see. And then what I'm going to do is just cut these 1/2 inch bigger than the edge, just like that. Okay, so you want this space, and then I'm going to fussy cut around again on this black cardstock. And then we're going to place this on our scoreboard and we're going to score at 1/2 inch, just on the sides. And you will have a little bit of a black border around as well. So I'm just gonna fold along, and we're going to add this into our base page. So I'm going to first add this down. So I'm just gonna glue this little flap, and I'm gonna line it up here on the side. There you go. And now we're gonna add this page. So for the next page, I'm going to cut a piece of 7.5 by 6.5. So I'm going to cut this one a little bit smaller, and we're going to score at 1/2 inch. So let's go ahead and score. Okay, and I'm actually going to do 2 that are going to be side to side for the next 2 pages. And for these 2 pages, I'm going to be using this beautiful paper here, and I'm just gonna split that one on 2 so we can fit it on the next 2 layouts. And I'm going to fold along the score line here, just like that. And I'm going to add this page on the left. And I'm going to do the same on the next page, but now we're going to glue this on the right side. So I'm going Okay, so for the next page, I cut a piece of my design paper that's going to fit on the base, and I also went ahead and cut 4 circles, and I'm just used some regular circle dies for this, and then I cut 2 smaller circles using the design paper. And what I want to do is a little spinning booklet. So I'm going to grab 3 of my circles, place it on the side, and just score at 1/2 inch. And I'm gonna do the same with 3 of them. So now we're gonna fold along the lines, and we're going to glue these pieces together. So I'm just going to grab my glue, and we're just gonna add a little bit of glue on this 1/2 inch. And so I'm just gonna place that one on top of the next one, and make sure that your circles lined up to create this little booklet. So I'm gonna do one on top of the other like this, and then I'm going to do the next one here. Okay, and then we're gonna glue this down on the last one here. And I think we're actually going to need one more for the top. So I'm going to cut one more circle, and we're just going to glue that one on the top. So here's my next one. I'm just going to add glue now. This time we're going to add glue on the whole front, just like that. And now we're going to add the last piece of the circles. There you go. Okay, and then what you need to do is you kind of want to fold this front ones up and back a little bit. So maybe I can use my ruler, and you do need this piece to bend so the whole book can open. So I'm just gonna mark right there where this needs to bend, but I don't want to cut it because I do want to see the full circle on the front. And then I'm gonna use one of my designs and just glue this on top, just like this. gonna add that right there. And then we are going to add this into the base or the design paper. I'm gonna put it down a little bit, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna open up all of the booklets, and see, this is why we need to bend the front again. There you go, so it opens up flat. I'm going to hold it right there, and I'm going to mark the center a little bit, just like this. And I'm going to poke a hole throughout both papers, and this probably needs to be a little bit bigger, and we're gonna use a brad to pass through the little hole. So I only have the large brads, but I think that will work too. So you want to put your brads and make sure that this is going to spin, and now we're gonna turn it around, and we're just gonna lay that flat. Okay, so there you go. So now we have our little disc, spinning disc, and it is also a little booklet that you can add pictures on. Now I have this second piece so I can cover my brads in there. So like I said, I'm using one of the large ones, so it's kind of bubbly. It's kind of big, but it's okay. You can use the little ones also. So I'm just gonna trim this on the side. So now I'm just gonna glue this down just so we can cover that brad, and just gonna add that right there, and then there you go. So now we're gonna add this whole page into the base there. Next page, I'm going to use the cover sheet, and I'm going to cut this beautiful image. And now I'm just going to glue the sides to create my pocket, just like that. I'm going to line this up, just like this. And now I'm going to add this whole page onto the base. Okay, so I added this flower power here, and I'm gonna add more embellishments later on too. So now we're gonna move on to the next two. I want the next two to be my fun games page. So for this one, first thing I'm gonna do is split this page in two. For the bowling page, I'm going to do a different type of layout here. So we're going to cut around the pins. So I have my pinks ready, and as you saw, I put some magnets in between the cardstock and the design paper. And now I'm going to use this other sheet, and I'm going to just hold my pinks up in here and turn this around. And then I'm going to add the magnets. And I'm just using small magnets, but you can definitely just use a larger one if you have larger magnets. So you're just gonna place them there, and I'm going to secure this with my tape again. And then I'm going to add this into my page, and we're just gonna place this down here. Now we can take that out, and there you go. So now this is just going to be added in there with the magnets. And the cool thing about this is you can add a picture here, and then you still see the fun design of the paper. So now let's move on to the next one. So for this page, I cut a piece of 7 1/4 by 4 1/2, and I'm going to score this at 1/2 inch on 3 sides, and we are going to create a pocket. So I'm just gonna do 1/2 inch, 1/2 inch on this side, and then we're going to do 1/2 inch right here. And then we are going to glue this down on this page. So for the next page, I'm going to cut a new piece of 6 1/4 by 8 inches. So I'm gonna score 1/2 inch here, and we're gonna add these on the top here. So I'm just gonna add some glue, and we're going to line it up on the top, and there you go. And I'm gonna glue these on top, and then for the inside I will do later because that's just for extra picture storage. Now before I glue that down, I have the Disco Girl image here, and I decided to cut around the different elements and just make these pieces really fun and dynamic. So then I'm going to also cut these 2 pieces here. So now I have my different elements, and I also have here a piece of cardstock and some brads. And what I'm going to do is add the cardstock on the back of the images, but before I do that, I'm going to first poke a hole, and then I'm going to add my brads like this, and I'm just gonna make it flat for now so it's easy to manage. And then before I add these, I'm going to add some chipboard to the sides to give this piece a little bit more volume. So I'm going to add one right there, and make sure that you leave enough room for your brad to sit on the middle. So I'll probably need to leave that much room in between. So I'm just gonna add this other piece just like that, and then I'm going to glue these 2 pieces right where my brad is. I'm going to make sure the brad sits right in between, and there you go. So that will go right there. Okay, and then I'm going to fuzzy cut around this image again. So now I have the 3 elements done. I did the same technique as I did on the first one, and now I'm just going to position where I want my elements to be. Now we're not going to glue these ones down, we're just going to see where our brad is. So I know I want this piece here, and my brad is right around this area right there, so that's where I'm going to create a little hole. So I'm just going to poke a hole here just like this, and I'm going to pass my brad in that little hole. Okay, just like that. And now we're gonna close the brad on the other side, and this is gonna spin freely, and it's gonna be so fun. So then I'm going to do the disco ball also, and we're gonna have multiple spinning pieces. So now that I have my 4 pages ready, I am going to add them into my book. So for that, I'm going to peel off a section of the tape here on the top, and then we are going to find the center of the page, and we're going to insert that into our hinge just like this. Then we're gonna press down, remove the tape, and we're gonna turn this over and remove the tape on the other side. And I'm just going to continue doing that to all of the pages. So now I'm going to use this page, which was the other half of that one, and I'm going to cut this like so, and I'm just going to create a pocket. Then I'm going to place this one over just a little bit higher up like this, and I'm going to mark right here where I'm going to trim this, which is going to be right there. And then I'm going to add some glue on this page. First I'm going to distress the sides, and we're going to add glue on the bottom and the sides just like this. And then we're gonna place this one on top. And then we have a hidden pocket in that page as well. For the last page, I'm going to use the 6x6 paper pad. I'm picking this design. I'm also going to cut around this circle here. Then I'm going to cut 3 pieces of 6 1/4 by 6 3/4, and I'm going to score 1/2 inch along the 6 3/4 inch side. So I'm gonna do the same for all these 3 pages. So then we're going to fold along the score lines, just like that, and we're going to glue one on top of the other. So I'm just gonna add my glue and glue on top of this one. And make sure that the little 1/2 inch flap is on the same side. We're gonna line these two up. And we're just gonna press down and do the same with the other page. We're gonna add that one on the top right here. And then we're gonna add these 3 pages on the top of the last page right here. And then I'm going to use this element to create a spinning disc to add as a closure. So I'm going to do the same technique that we did for these pieces here, but we are going to make sure that we don't put the brad on the center this time. We are going to put it on the bottom left. So now I'm gonna use this page and I'm going to add my spinning disc on that one. So first you want to place it down and kind of see where you're gonna put your disc. So I think, let's see here, I'm going to do it right on this side right here. So that's where I'm going to do my hole. For my page inserts, I'm cutting 4 pieces at 7 1/4 by 5 1/2, and I'm going to use my leftover scrap pieces of paper to create some tabs. So I'm just simply going to fold this in half, just like this. I'm going to ink around them. And I'm just going to glue them on the top. I'm going to add some glue at the tab, like that, and then we're going to add the glue on the other side as well. Just like that. And these will be your page inserts. And I'm just gonna continue doing that to the other 3 pages. So here I have all my 4 inserts done. So I hope that you guys enjoy this tutorial. I wanna thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye-bye.